Rev up your engines!
Well, no surprise, gas prices are flying off the handle in California. San Francisco Bay Area drivers started the week off with a 30% jump in gas prices. And here's the interesting thing. In California, as it stands today, the average price of unleaded gasoline is $4.82 in California versus $3.17 in the rest of the country, being 52% higher than the rest of the country. Now they always come up with excuses. This time the excuses, well, some of the plants that crack the petroleum and refine it into gasoline are off for maintenance. We're maintaining them. And with the fires, we've had problems. So let's raise the price up really high, right? It doesn't cost them any more to make the gasoline. It doesn't make any sense. Why is the price up? Because they can. They come up, whoa, there's lots of it, so we're going to charge you more money now. They're always looking for excuses to charge more money, especially in California, right? I mean, it'd be one thing if they were actually running out of gasoline and then, they do the price gouging. And, of course, all these BS politicians, we're never going to allow price gouging again. And then price gouging comes, like it is now in California. And do they do anything about it? Of course they don't. They had the same thing in Houston when they had hurricanes and the gas stations that still had gas for price gouging. They said, we're going to stop that, but they really didn't do anything about it whatsoever, except the hot air came out of the politicians' mouths, right? Here you poor people in California are paying all that for gas because the companies are putting the screws on you because they can. Oh, we have maintenance problems with some of these, so we don't have as much, so we're going to charge you more money for it. What the heck? Where else can people get away with that but the oil business, right? Anything else, you start scratching your head. You're wondering, hey, what's this nonsense about charging us all this more money? It's still there. Well, we're having a hard time keeping up. So what? You're having a hard time. Big deal. That's the world. You can't just keep charging people more money because you want to make more profit. But they do, and they get away with it. The politicians jacking the axe. They say they're going to change things. But nothing ever changes in California. They just keep charging you more because they can get away with it. I went to Death Valley. That's in California, right? At the time, it was $7 a gallon for gas in Death Valley. You could drive 40 minutes outside of Death Valley to the state of Nevada and get it for $3.20 a gallon. And they were charging $7-something inside the park at Death Valley because they got you by the short and curlies. There were only 2 gas stations for thousands of square miles. Hey, what can you do? Well, I had a hybrid RAV4, and that thing got such great gas mileage, 50-something miles a gallon. I just didn't buy gas until I left and went back to Nevada and bought it there. Well, Volkswagen claims that they are going to have a $20,000 electric car that's going to debut next month. It's going to be called the ID.1 EV. Now, come on, can you think of a name? Identification.1. What a stupid name. I mean, in this case, you can't blame people for saying the Germans have no imagination. They're calling a car ID.1, the car ID.2, .3. What a stupid name. Come on, think of a name. Hire somebody else to make the name for you, This is presently February of 2025. Let's see if it actually happens. Something definitely has to give with electric cars. If they could actually make a $20,000 electric car hold its value over time, that's a game changer. Because electric cars should be cheaper, smaller, start small, work up. Volkswagen made a fortune with the Beetle. They came out with a tiny car. We thought, who the hell is going to buy those stupid little Beetles? Who the heck is going to buy those things, the tiny little Beetles? Well, they sold an awful lot of them, right? Maybe if they can actually push a $20,000 electric car out, they might take over a lot. A lot of people might say, hey, it's only 20 grand. I'll just get one and see what happens. And they could try out electric cars, use them for city commuters. That could make a lot of sense. Now, who knows what's actually going to happen? It's not out yet. And as we all know, if you research any of these electric car companies, they got to push stuff out as fast as they can to try to beat everyone else. Maybe they'll push it out too early and it'll be like an absolute bomb. Nobody knows. But if they can get a $20,000 car out there and it starts to sell, it could be a game changer for Volkswagen. Well, I read this article that said Dodge is hinting at a sub $30,000 sports car. Could it happen? And they say, they can have something that compete with the Mazda Miata. Could it happen? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But you know what? It really doesn't freaking matter. Sports cars are on the wane. They're going down. Hardly anybody buys them anymore. In 2023, Mazda sold a whopping 8,973 Miatas. Toyota Supra, they're a sports car, right? They sold 2,652 Supras in 2023. And they sold even less in 2024. People are not buying sports cars anymore in the United States. So does it really matter if Dodge comes out with a sub $30,000 sports car? No, it doesn't. Because nobody's buying the things. The days of, the people dreaming of getting a sports car and driving around, those days are often gone. Either that or they just dream about it and they never actually buy it. Maybe the 12-year-olds are dreaming of buying a sports car, but they're not going to be buying one, right? Most people have a more pragmatic situation of when they're going to buy a car. They got a family, they want a minivan, or they want an SUV. They can't get a little sports car. Those days are fading away. So these people making a deal about who can Dodge make a sub $30,000 sports car, when it comes down to the real world of economics, no one really cares. Because nobody's buying those things anyway. The only car that Ford sells today is the Ford Mustang. Everything else, the trucks or SUVs, right? And they only sold like 50,000 of them last year. It wasn't all that many. But it's the only car and sports car that they even make anymore. And even that's fading away, right? Ford will probably continue to make Mustangs because that's their big honor car, the Mustang. That's their image, the Mustang, right? Like they want this image of the Mustang, but basically people are buying SUVs. That's what they're selling. Look, they even called that electric Mustang a Mustang when it's really just an electric SUV. It's got nothing to do with a Mustang. So, they like the idea of sports cars, but hey, people, in the real world, nobody's buying the things. Well, it looks like the rats are starting to jump off of Tesla. Tesla stock dumped 3.5% on Thursday because their director, Robin Denholm, sold a bunch of shares. She sold about $43 million worth of Tesla stock. And she also exercised stock options and acquired 112,390 shares at $24.73 each. Okay, so they're selling for like $378, and she gets to buy them for $24. It's the stock option thing for the people that are in the company. Instead of giving them a raise, we'll give you so many stock options, right? Less than 1/10 of what the stock is going for, so then they can sell those and make even more money. All these insider deals, they're enough to make you throw up. But it turns out that a whole bunch of Elon's brothers selling a bunch of stock. Could it be that the rats are leaving the ship and they see, we can cash in now. Let's cash in before it hits the bottom. And that is what happens in the stock market all the time. When the insiders start selling out, it's kind of a sign that it looks like things might not be that rosy in the future. Let's quick get rid of our stuff before the literal crap hits the fan and the stock just starts going down the toilet. Who knows what's going to happen with electric cars? Who knows what's going to happen if there's going to be a worldwide recession? Who knows? Maybe there'll be worldwide superinflation. It's certainly headed towards that. In the countries I've been to, including the United States, this hyperinflation stuff looks like it's becoming a reality, right? So the fact that these people are starting to get rid of their stock that are in the company, and a bunch of them are selling, before your digital stock turns to digital nothingness, doesn't bode all that well for Tesla that these guys are starting to sell their stuff out. They want the money, not just the idea. It's like people say, this person is the richest man in the world. Yeah, on paper or digitally they are. In the real world, when you have actual money, it's a completely different story. There's a big difference between actually having the stuff and having stock options, this or that, everything. Anything can happen in the future. Things could just dissipate in the stock market for nothing. It could just drop right down, and then there goes your value down the toilet. And their value is starting to cash it in. So, hey, keep an eye on what's going to happen with Tesla stock. There's so much fantasy going on, and people in the stock market, they generally buy on fantasy. They say, this is going to be great. I'll buy a whole bunch of it, right? Just like everybody that used to go to the gold rush in the 1800s. There's gold in California. There's gold in Alaska. And they all rush there, and then almost everybody loses their shirts except the people who either originally found it or sold mining materials to the people. Sort of like stockbrokers selling you stock. They always make money on the deal, right? Well, if you think renting a car is getting expensive these days, why don't you rent a yacht? Recently, Beyonce and Jay-Z paid $3.5 million a week to rent a super yacht, the Flying Fox. They said they also left $630,000 in tips for people. Well, let's face the facts. Some people don't have enough food, or the people that do, they're maxing their credit cards out to buy their groceries, and these clowns are paying $3.5 million a week to rent a boat. Now, if that isn't disgusting, I don't know what is. I don't know why people even follow these people. You're like, these people are disgusting. $3.5 million a week. Most people never see $3.5 million in their entire lifetime, and these people are blowing it to float around on a yacht. It's still just a boat. They're floating around a boat for $3.5 million a week. There's something wrong with our society that these people are glamorized that do it. And it makes the news. What do these people do? You know what I say? I am disgusted by the whole thing. I think these people, they could do better things with their money than float around on a boat for $3.5 million a week. It's just insanity. That's how crazy our society's gotten. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.